Hi, welcome back to 5 Minutes with the Fami. I'm Fukui Drew, here with another Japanese exclusive Super Famicom game review. This week we're taking a look at Wander Project J, a point-and-click adventure that feels less like a game and more like a 12-hour tech demo. With stunning graphics and a huge library of adorable animations like this one, and oh, look at this one! It's easy to see why this labor of love is ranked among the best on the Super Famicom. It pushed the hardware to its limits in the mid-1990s and was rewarded with over 1 million copies sold. Now, Wander Project J has a Tamagotchi-style appeal to it. You don't actually control the main character, a robot named Pino. Instead, you play the role of his mentor, teaching him how to navigate the world and grow as a person, a robot, a perbot. No, that doesn't sound right. Anyway, you can guide him down the right path, helping him make friends and gain new experiences, or you can make him eat a cat, which is a real option. You interact with the world through a tiny fairy named, what else, Tinker. And of course, she summons Pino with a bell, but she's less Tinkerbell and more Jiminy Cricket, as she serves as Pino's conscience and guide. Actually, the whole game is just a retelling of Pinocchio. You've got Pino and his creator Geppetto. The only difference is they swapped out a wooden puppet for a mechanical one. Now, the bulk of the gameplay involves calling Pino over to random objects and watching him interact with them, sometimes correctly and sometimes like an absolute menace. Clicking on the right thing can be a bit tricky, curse you pixels, but when you do, you're rewarded with a delightful parade of animations. Pino will either use an item properly or spectacularly fail, and it's up to you to either praise or scold him for his actions. Of course, you're supposed to be guiding him towards becoming a better, well-behaved perbot. You know, I'm just gonna go with it now. But let's be real, sometimes the wrong actions are just so much funnier than the right ones. I probably shouldn't be enjoying this, but watching him bench press a chicken is way more entertaining than teaching him the proper manners. Wander Project J was developed by Almanac, the same studio behind River City Girls Zero, and was released in December 1994. It was published by Enix, making the second collaboration between these two companies after EVO, Search for Eden, or as it's known in Japan, the 4.6 billion year story, which, let's be honest, is a way cooler name. If there's one thing these developers loved, it was pushing the boundaries of game design, and Wander Project J is the culmination of that philosophy, blending many unique elements together in a wonderfully unique, new game style. Now, first, it's a point-and-click adventure, but it's told in a second-person perspective, which apparently is a thing. You control a fairy who periodically acknowledges you as part of the world. I am technically a character in this game, but my role is to guide Pino through the controller and through the TV. Then on top of that, it's also a life simulator, where you teach Pino through a bizarre system of praise and punishment. It's a weird mix of ideas that, on paper, really shouldn't work at all, but somehow it does. Well, most of the time. To really get a feel for how Wander Project J works, let's take a look at the first real level. Pino wakes up to Tinker frantically telling him about a friendly robot that is being attacked by another robot. She orders you to step in and save the poor guy. Looking around the house, you'll spot two objects, a rubber ball and a dumbbell. Naturally, you might just want to pass these up and rush off to confront the bad robot right away, which is exactly what I did. Now, if you do, Pino will travel over to the other area where he'll see a ball near the other robots that are fighting, but Pino will have no idea what to do with the ball, and he'll just sit there kind of shrugging his shoulders. Really immersive gameplay, right? Now, back at the house, it's time to train Pino. You need to teach him how to throw a ball, but since he's never done it before, well, things get weird. At first, he might eat it or sit beside it, staring at it. Every time he messes up, you should have Tinker scold him, but once he actually starts throwing the ball, you can praise him, reinforcing the idea that this is what balls are for, you know, violence. Now, back to the robot rescue. You finally know what to do with the ball, so you pick it up and throw it and save the day! Except, oh right, you're too weak to throw it properly. That's where the dumbbell comes in. Have Pino pump some iron, boosting up his arm strength until he can chuck that ball at warp speed, strong enough to, you know, kill the robot. Wait, what? Now, at its core, Wander Project J is best thought of as a puzzle game, because if you approach it as anything else, you'll quickly realize that there just isn't enough gameplay to hold the attention of fans from those other genres. The interactions are extremely linear, with only one correct path forward, and ultimately the game boils down to stat management. For example, I always play like a saint. I make sure Pino is happy, kind, and well-fed. I never let him harm animals, and I'll even buy him pudding he doesn't need just to see him smile. I really am a pushover. You can ask my 4 children. But turns out this is not the best way to play the game. At certain points in the game, Pino is forced into combat, and if he's too kind, he just will straight up refuse to pick up a sword. So what's the solution? Now, Apparently, kicking a few dogs to lower his kindness. Even if you do manage to get him to fight, there's another problem. If Pino's stats aren't just right, the enemy will either predict all of Pino's moves, or Pino's attacks will not cause enough damage and time will run out. Even if everything works out, you can't actually control the combat. You're left watching a battle unfold that could have and really should have been way more immersive. And that's not the only time the game traps you in a frustrating predicament. If Pino loses confidence, he'll start getting scared of animals, which means he'll run away from his own dog. The poor dog, of course, has no idea what's going on and just keeps following him and getting closer while Pino spirals into what looks like a full-blown nervous meltdown. Now, discipline him too much, he'll stop listening to you entirely. At that point, all you can do is sit back and wait for him to stumble upon an object that will restore his trust in you. These mechanics can feel a bit frustrating, especially when you know the solution to a puzzle, but just can't get to the right screen. But then again, the game is pretty short, only 10 levels, and that's including a tutorial and an unplayable stage. Without these extra hurdles, you'd probably finish it way too fast. I was just impressed with how much content the developers crammed into this tiny cartridge. The characters are large, the animations are incredibly smooth, and even late in the game you'll be discovering new funny interactions and animations. The language barrier is real, but not as bad as you might think, but at the very least, getting a translation of the stats page is a must. The copy I bought is in great condition and didn't cost me a fortune, a perk of being a popular title, I guess. The box art is unique and fun, and the cartridge looks beautiful as well. While I really enjoy the game, I don't exactly feel the need for a second playthrough. That said, I am interested in checking out the sequel on the N64. Overall, I'm giving Wonder Project J a 79 because despite its quirks, I genuinely enjoyed interacting with Pino. And with that, another game reviewed. If you like this video, send Pino over to the like and subscribe button and have Tinker praise him for it. This has been Fukui Drew, goodbye.